Take a slow breath with me. In through your nose, and then out through your mouth. Let yourself arrive to this moment, to this space. Welcome to the Sacred Resonance Podcast. I am Reverend Larry J. Morris III, and I'm glad you're here. Today's podcast is a little bit longer. This conversation is between myself and my BFF, Anita M. McCobb, Reverend Anita M. Cobb. And so you're invited to move through this episode at your own pace as we explore what it means to be seen across seasons. Well, Anita, thank you for joining me today on the Sacred Resonance Podcast. I did a little intro, but you can approve later. But so the title of this episode is Seen Across Seasons, really thinking about what does it mean to have a relationship, a friendship, a companion who sees you across seasons, many different seasons of your life. And so appreciative of your time and your relationship and your companionship across many seasons of my life. So the
Thanks.
first question,
I just said same.
okay. Oh, yes. So the first question is, so we've known each other since our teens, a little while
Yeah,
ago, right?
a little
We
bit.
are in our forties now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Teens to the forties, early forties, but forties nonetheless. When you think about that span of time, what stands out to you? Not necessarily a particular story at this moment, but like what feeling stands out?
Um, Patience and consistency, or inconsistency,
I
or
mean,
consistently inconsistent. I don't.
mm,
It's some things there, but
mhm.
definitely patience and care.
Yeah, I think that may be true for me as well. When I think about our teens to our forties, um, patience, I think, is one of the things, and a feeling of like adventure and commitment, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, and we may get into the times when we were like, I don't know, I don't know,
Ain't
I
gonna
don't know.
make
We'll
it.
see, we'll see what the conversation leads. Um, and then one of the quotes that I share, that you and I talked about previously, was this quote by Heidi. I'm not gonna mess up her last name, but it says, "To love someone long term is to attend 1,000 funerals of the people they used to be." And so I wonder for you, what does it mean to you to have someone who has known multiple versions of you?
Man, that is wild because I feel like a lot of people know multiple versions of me, but I feel like for this particular conversation and you and I, it's amazing. It's amazing that, not only have you got to witness the different versions of me, I've got to live into them. And
Mm,
so it's just been really a neat experience knowing that there's somebody who actually sees you and continues to care, right? That you saw me, that you see me, that I can move around and do and be, and you still be present. Like for me, that has been like so affirming and so wonderful. Yeah, because I've seen some versions of me, and I'm like, "Ooh, when is that season over?" But through it all, we have remained, huh? Amen. I'm grateful.
amen. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I think for myself too, it's like, I think seeing different authentic versions, right, has been, I'm trying to find the word. I think it's been really helpful and it feels good to be seen, but it can also be vulnerable, right? And I think
So
in our
vulnerable.
relationship, we haven't just shown each other um, the social media versions of ourselves, right? Or the version of ourselves that the highlight reel. It's been like, no, this is girl. Yes, like,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And then to have someone to hold that space, and then to trust yourself to be vulnerable, to be in that space. I think it's been healing.
Yeah.
Healing is I guess is a word, one of the words that I'm coming to now. And it's like, it's such a healing experience because you do have relationships and friendships that don't last for a variety of reasons. And then to have one where even when you're performing to yourself, your friend is like, mm-mm.
Right.
You'd be like, nah, like something that's not, yeah, you take off the mask, beloved.
And I don't know if we'll get there. I don't know if that's one of the things, but not just being seen, but sometimes being pulled, right? When the
Ooh,
other person sees something in you that you are missing, that you're not seeing in yourself, and they're able to gently, sometimes forcefully, but definitely gently walk you through to that. It's like, no, just what is it? Who is it? Just be, So that has
yeah.
been a gift in someone seeing you across all of the many seasons of life.
Yeah, well, let's just go there. Is there a particular like story in mind or a moment in mind that comes to you when that has happened?
I have all the stories. I knew I was coming here and I was like, okay, now what am I actually going to say and put out into the real world? And what am I going to just keep for us? Um, Definitely the story that always comes back, and I know we're going to talk about this a little bit more, is that time in, um, what was it, Thirsty Scholar in the bookstore, right? Where we're sitting there supposed to be studying, talking, catching up, having a good time, and you just call out my ministry and like, Anita, just receive it. And I'm like, sir, I have said yes to the Lord. I have gone to seminary. I'm doing this ministry thing. Why are you adding on to it? I was so resistant, but you were like, no, nah, you a prophet. Just come on. And like we had a whole anointing service in the bookstore. Said these people gonna put us out, but that's one of those moments that really stand out to me, especially as I was in a wild discerning time. Anyway, I had just finished seminary, trying to figure out if I was actually gonna start this church thing or not, and you just called it right on out, and I was like, huh. And then you gave me books to back it up, so there's that. Thanks.
Not the
Thanks, bud.
resources.
I mean, at least you ain't leave me empty handed to try to figure it out on my own.
You know.
Thank you.
Listen,
Appreciate it.
I got you. I got you, boo. Yes. And I think when I think about that moment, it just happened. You know what I'm saying? Like those things you just don't plan. It's like just spirit shows up and you trust that that is God at work. And then if it
Yeah.
ain't my bad, but like,
I think
oops.
we're good.
It's like, oops. Yeah.
I'm pretty
I
sure
think
we're
the moment
good.
that
Yeah.
comes to me now is when I moved to San Diego, and I've talked about the San Diego story before. Um, and I mean, I think it was like this tension of like, don't go, but then go. You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Yeah.
I really felt like supported and pushed in the same, like supported and pushed, right?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and again, I think the space of like you're my BFF. Like I ain't really, I'm back in Indianapolis. We've been tough for a while, been hanging around for a while, and then going out to like this unknown thing.
Hmm.
And I just really felt like you're a push and support then, and you came to visit me too, which was delightful and
Yes.
mad helpful too. Yeah, and even my like ministry, right? And being called and supported, and affirmed and believed, right? And so even when you talk about that story, I'm like, dang, like that also affirmed who God has called me to be,
Yeah.
um, for it to resonate in that particular way. You know what I'm saying? And you knew you was a prophet and prophetic before anyway. So it's not like I was telling you a
Right.
revelation, you know? But yeah, and so I think that not just the religious or spiritual vocational things, but just like the ongoing support of what it means to be human,
Yeah.
right? What it means to be a
Yes.
person with
And
all of
not
the
to have to be
emotions.
perfect. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Shout out to Marco Polo for holding some of those conversations too.
Ooh, Marco Polo.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
buddy.
so we're gonna be honest and real. We have had seasons where we ask whether the relationship will continue, right? And I think that is important to name an honest, authentic relationships. Like sometimes you're like, I don't know, I don't know. Um, but I'm curious for you, like, what made it possible to ask that honestly?
It's, you wouldn't go away. Like even when I walked away, yes, I did. I was like, you know what? I don't want to do this no more. This is too much. I You were still there. Like your presence was still there. Like I'm like, this is still my friend. I still care about this person. And then we decided to do the work.
Mm,
That's really what made it work. Cause there was times when I was like, I'm out, then I'd be back, and you was like, I'm out. Cause again, consistently inconsistent. It was a thing.
yeah.
Um, but that's because it was I think that's because we were still learning ourselves. We were learning each
Hmm.
other. We were trying to figure this thing out. And so um when we decided to really work on it and do all those personality things. I'm telling you, like it sounds crazy and it sounds like wild, but
Hmm.
actually sitting down and taking all those assessments and then going through them together and seeing how it was actually a compliment, I think that made it worth
Hmm.
it for me to be like, okay, well, I have a better understanding. I can go in with some new information. So now let's try it. So now I don't see this thing as a harm to me or a slight to me. I see it as this person is having to take care of themselves. And
Hmm.
so when we are learning how each other takes care of themselves, it's like, okay, I can give you 2 more days. After that, I'm gonna have to say something, but I'm gonna give you at least 2 more days. Yes.
Yes, yes, because the introvert be introverting. It does.
And do.
Yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think for me, I do think it was like we would not go away, right? It's like it was, some people you black. Well, some people I black. I do. And it's like they just gone, right? But I do think, like you said, I think we were both growing up, particularly in our 20s, both growing, understanding ourselves, figuring ourselves out, creating ourselves, and it just always felt like even when we were frustrated with each other, that it wasn't the end, right? Like,
Yeah.
maybe it was a pause, maybe it was like discernment, but it never felt final. And, one of us would be like, okay, now it's time to talk. Let's
Yeah.
meet at the Applebee's or let's meet at this other place and have a real conversation, right?
Yeah.
And again, I think it's the trust, the vulnerability piece that I keep thinking about and coming back to. Um, because it's like, I'm owning my part of the confusion or even the growth, and you own your part. And we discern together, like, is this worth keeping or is this worth trying to figure out? Yes, and those personalities has helped. I think they provided language to the friction that we
Yes.
were experiencing, right?
For
Um,
sure.
and helped us see each other and ourselves, right? In a way that just provided like language and framework for continuing to journey with each other.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Shout out to all of
Yes, every single one has helped.
them.
And I know people have issues with the Myers Briggs. I understand, but it helped us.
It
Okay.
did. It
Uh,
absolutely did. Huh? That was another thing, right? Because I, for the longest time, thought I was an INFJ, and that ain't close enough to the truth. I don't even, huh? And so, but being able to sit down and recognize this is why I have the struggles because I'm trying to be this thing that I'm not. And us actually going through that was like, oh, okay, aha. I do need people. I'm struggling in this friendship, relationship, companionship because I haven't verbalized what I've needed because I thought I was supposed to do this. And so us going through that was another way for us to have a conversation about, well, just say what you need.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, that sounds so adult. I was not I was not that listen, I some days I still look for the adult and I'm the adult.
Yeah.
So, it was a very helpful process.
Yeah. And I think for me, just verbalizing my need for being by myself, right? Because I would just disappear. It wasn't just with you. I would just disappear with everybody, be gone. Like
Absolutely. I
deuces,
learned that it was not a just me
deuces.
thing.
Yeah,
It was a you thing.
yeah,
So I was like, okay.
yeah. And to my, my fellow introverts and folks who need space, that is not. I mean, not saying that just disappearing is probably not the best way to be in relationship with folks. So I think one of the things that I committed to was like, okay, telling folks, all right, I'm gonna take some time away, communicating that I just need some time, whether it's a text or something, and just to let folks know that I was okay, but I'm like, I just need time. And so again, I think when we think about being in long term relationships, communication is important, and we cannot just expect for somebody to understand us, even if we take all of these assessments or whatever. And we have to
Hmm.
share language. It's still like we have to do our part to maintain the relationship. And so it wasn't just like, okay, I'm an introvert. I'll be sensitive and I need my space. Just deal with it. It's like, okay,
Right.
no, all of that is true. And also, like, I need 24 hours or 48 hours, right? Um,
Just today is a quiet day. Like, yeah,
yes.
something.
Mm-hmm.
And
Something.
we've grown.
Yeah.
Because I got to the place where I could say, hey, do you have space? Do you have room? Do you have energy to talk today? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I put that on Facebook like 100 years ago, and somebody was like, "You actually said that?" And I was like, "Yes," because this is how we're learning, and this is, I know that I have these big emotions and feelings, and I want to get them out, and I want to tell them to my safe place. But if my safe place can't hear it, then it ain't gonna work. So I need to check in before I just download all this information and dump all this on you. Do you have the space? And I think honoring that has also been helpful.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's mutual. Sometimes, people have probably many perceptions of both of us, based on how they know
So
us.
many,
But
so
yes,
many.
listen, emotional too. Sometimes they'll be like da 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 da. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my bad. Can you? Do you have it? you have the capacity, you have the space. Yeah. The other question I have is like, we have lived apart. We live apart now. We're not in the same city presently and currently. Okay.
Okay.
So what did distance teach us that closest couldn't? So what did distance teach us that closeness could not?
You know how they say absence makes the heart grow fonder? Um, I think the distance taught us how to appreciate the times when we are close. I think for
Mm-hmm.
me, the distance really helped me to see you and your new world flourish and do well. And it's like, okay, he doesn't have to be stuck here because let's have another moment of honesty.
Okay.
Part of my characteristic is to be overprotective, and I just
Mm-hmm.
always want to make sure that people are safe and that they're well and that they're healthy, that they're happy, that they're whole. It's still with me. And but being away was like, okay, this is an opportunity for both of y'all to grow. Are you gonna grow? Are you willing to watch him thrive out here, even in the hard times? He's still out here. He ain't come back home. Um, and rejoice in that. And like, what did that also sparked in me? Like, you can still leave and it'll be okay. But it also made me all the more grateful when we were able to hang out and talk. And we had technology very early, very, 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 very early technology um, back then. But we still had it. And so even though we were far apart and we couldn't just go over to the other person's house, I felt like we were still just as close because we were more intentional about our conversations and our interactions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think for me it was just this reminder that all relationships need space, right? And sometimes, it's not like that we was hanging out 24/7 when we lived in the same city.
Right.
Um, I mean, there were moments when we did hang out for hours and hours and hours. But I think
I mean,
the
sometimes days back to back.
that is true. Like there's some stories we will not tell. We talked about them, but
Absolutely.
I'm thinking
Hmm.
of a story or two that we will not tell on
I
this
have a couple
podcast space.
stories that I'm like,
Yes,
yeah,
we're
we're
not
not
gonna
going to
do
share
that.
that.
Mm-mm. No, 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 no. We're not gonna share that. It's not for the people.
Y'all have to ask us
Yeah.
about that in real time and see if we tell you then.
Actually, don't even ask me in real time. If you were not there, you do not need to know. You had to be there, actually.
There were a few
You had to
very
be
much
there.
had to be there situations. Ah,
Yes, yes, yeah.
oh,
And I think like the distance. I think just the physical space, and I think to your point, like when we were together in the same space, the physical space again, it just made those moments like really important. And I think for me, particularly when I came back like to Indianapolis to visit, I needed to feel like I was coming back to like a safe place, home, right?
mhm.
Um, yeah, I don't know if that would if us not being apart would have given me the same sense or feeling of like coming back to like a safe place or a place of home, right?
Right.
Um, and I do think that like in a lot of different relationships, no matter how close you are, how much space you give people, um, that sometimes it's good to have like the space so that you can stretch out a little bit, like that you can wiggle and breathe and grow. In ways that may not happen when you're always like together, if that makes sense. Um,
Yes. And not having to feel like you can only be this one way, right?
yeah.
Because you're in the same space and this is how y'all have always been in the space together, so this is how you have to always be. And it's like, no, like expand those wings, like spread
Yeah.
them out and grow and do something different. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think sometimes we have to try on the version of ourselves with ourselves before we try it on, like even with people that are really, really close to us. And I think that is one thing that, distance has helped with. Um, oh, this is a good question. How do you tell the difference between a necessary ending and a relationship that just needs space to breathe?
I'm a feeler. So everything that I do, I feel it first. And so when the feeling is painful and like what's the word? What's the word I'm thinking about? Not contracting, but I don't know. I can't think of the word I want to use right now. But I feel like it just smothers you, and it's like, okay,
Mm,
um, I don't even want to be around you ever again. At one point in my life, I used to have unspoken friendship contracts. They were unspoken because they were
mm,
just within me. And I'm like, okay, if me and this person have a big falling out within a year and we can't come back to it, we can't figure out how to come back around, then that
mhm,
person is just done. But if we can come back around and have conversation, then that's somebody who's going to be in my life forever. And so for me, it's like I have to ask myself, do I want to be in this person's life forever? Do I want them in my life forever? And if I say yes, then I'm gonna give it some space and I'm gonna see if it comes back around. That has happened in a couple friendships, and
mhm.
um, I don't give up on people. So if we take some space, we take some time, and I can't find my way back to you, then God be with you. God, God be with you. Maybe I'll see you in the social media streets, but the effort won't be there. But for those relationships that are meaningful and have made some kind of positive impact on my life, I'm gonna let them breathe for a little bit, and then I'm gonna be like, all right, let's check back in. How you doing? Are we okay? Are we not okay? If and if that person says we not okay, then I'm like, all right, well, God be with you.
Yeah, you don't give up on people, and I'd be like, bye. Like it's over. Like, what do you mean? What? Like, seriously. And so I think that is a difference that we have. I'm like, why haven't you blocked them? And
Right?
for
You
me,
would
I'm
tell me
like, why
that in a
have like
heartbeat.
I guess. And so again, I think that difference, and I think over time that is, believe it or not, I think it has softened me a bit, right? At least I think a little bit before I'm like, it's over because I'm chopped,
Yeah.
um, chopped. But one of the things that you said that is resonating with me right now, and it's like you mentioned, even though you couldn't find the word, like how you feel, like your body, right?
Yeah.
Um, and I think this episode may air in the spring, But in the winter, this time where we're recording, I've been talking a lot about the body, which I probably will still talk about. But like sometimes we feel it in our body before we are able to articulate it or we're ready to like receive the truth. And so
Mhm.
I resonate with that too, because there are some relationships that's like, yeah, if I feel like I cannot breathe,
Yeah.
what is the poet? I'm gonna forget her name, but she was like, Nair Raid, I think is how you say it. But she's like, how is your breath here, right?
Mhm.
In every relationship, right? You should ask like, how is your breath? And if it feels like I cannot breathe, and after conversation and expressing that, if I still feel like I cannot breathe, then it's like this relationship is probably over, and it probably needs to
Yeah.
end.
Yeah.
And I'm going back to our earlier part of our conversation. I think when I feel like I had those moments with us, we had conversation, right? And it wasn't like Anita is this bad person doing this bad thing. Some of it was like, oh, you can't breathe because you holding your breath, right? And you're not allowing yourself to like breathe.
Right.
And I think coming back to that conversation piece and being able to name honestly, this is what's going on. This is how I feel. This is what I'm experiencing. And being able to own your part situation in that and then to move
Yeah.
forward, I think, is how at least I've discerned if this relationship needs to end or not. Because I've had friends where it's like, we talk, they don't want to own their stuff. And it's like, I can't move forward with it if you're not owning your stuff the way that I'm owning mine. Because I don't do well with falseness or like fake relationships. It hasn't been something that I'm good at. Unfortunately, I probably would be different in my career if I could do that. Different conversation. But it is the gift. I would
Uh,
probably be booed up too if I could. Never mind. All right. Um, but yeah. Let's talk a little bit about like mutual ministry and call, right? And so, how do you see our gifts of apostle and prophet, apostolic and the prophetic, and pastoral? The pastor word. Even though I am a minister of a church, right, at this particular moment in life, I don't necessarily identify with the pastoral role, but
okay. All right. Okay.
it's all good. It's all
I'm
good.
glad you said that because I'm like, okay. Okay, Pastor.
I use senior minister, boo.
I
Let me
know
use
you
important.
do. I know you do. That's why I'm like, oh, that was a cute little word you decided to use.
Yes.
Um,
But how do you see these gifts working together? Apostolic, prophetic, pastoral over the span of our relationship.
I really feel like they've always been at work.
Mm,
There have been times when like you do so well. I don't know if you know this, believe this, or whatever, but you do so well with people who are in transition. I don't know
mm,
how you feel like you handle your own transitions, but when people and places are in transition, you are able to guide, give words, encourage, kind of help shape and structure. And so that's always been there. And then here I come. Most of the time, I'm gonna just shoot it straight from the hip and be like, "That's not nice. You need to say that a different way," or like try to be like. But I think it's always been the compliment. You know,
mhm,
you do the structure, I do some fill in, you do some more structure, I do some more fill in. I always want to teach and train somebody something. And you always want to put you will put together a workshop, you will put together a PowerPoint, a presentation or something, and I'll be like, okay, let me lead it. Let me be the one because
yeah,
that's just who we are and how we operate. Like uh you're the big picture and I'm the fine details. And I
mhm,
feel like that's how we've been this whole time. Even when I have been like pushing you for answers or like, but make that make sense. That's not clear. Make it make
mhm,
sense. It's
mhm.
like, girl, I'm giving you the big picture. You figure out the other stuff. This is where I'm going.
Yes,
What
yeah.
happens when I get there? We'll find out when we get there. And I'm
Hence
like,
Vegas.
and I'm like, well, before I get there, I need to. Are there A, B, C, and D's? Like,
Mhm,
Vegas was a real good example. But
mhm,
I think that's how this balances and this works, and we ebb and we flow. Even in ministry, even working on C3, even before C3. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's just when you're just who you are, it's just who you are. And
Yeah.
I feel like we've always been ministry partners.
Hmm.
Like even before
Yeah.
either one of us went to seminary, I feel like we were ministry partners.
Yeah. 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 I agree with that. I think our gifts do complement each other, and I think they have for a long time. Like you said, even before we were like an official ministry together. Um, and I think like the passion that you have for the church, I'd be like, girl, please take a deep breath. Just profit. Like
Listen,
just a moment.
the
Uh,
church, she wears me
you about to
low.
cry now?
No, I'm not gonna cry. She just wears me low.
Yes, and really like having like the heart of God, and I think like the feeling and eyes of God, and like this forward leaning or like forward vision. Like this is, what's happening now. Like seeing really really clearly about what's happening now and what could be.
Hmm.
Um, I think has been I. In our relationship, I think has been mad helpful and mad frustrating sometimes too. Because I'm not really trying to hear that, right? And I think it's like I don't want to hear that. Like I have an idea about what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I would never forget that time when I stopped going to church and you preached to me every time we talked. And I was like, I'm not stopping answering her call because these church person got on my nerves. I'm tired. I'm talking to God still, but I'm like, and we just talking. I don't think we having a regular conversation. I was like, another sermon. I'm not, girl, right?
Another sermon, yes.
Another sermon, but and it didn't feel like forced. It's like we would just be talking, and then like water
Yeah,
flows, right? Um, and I do think that's just been like the nature of our relationship for so long, and this is not a fivefold ministry training. I know people feel many different ways about those
right.
ministries and gifts. Maybe that's another conversation. But all of the gifts need each other, and I think like the apostle and prophet really do need each other in these really tangible ways. Because sometimes for me, like I'm just let's go, we going fast, and it's like no, bro, we love it. Slow
Take a
down.
breath.
Yes, please, please. And then I also think that you are. I mean, I think this combination of like you being like prophet, pastor is really interesting to me because I think sometimes it's like you speak this word or like you have this insight, and then I also wanted to help people like nurture it. This is for the folks who listen. I don't identify with the pastoral role much. It's because two or three times we had the same conversation, beloved. Listen, I need for you to figure it out. I think you like we talk. Not that I have the tools, but the tools that I have, I share with you, and then you also have your tools. Like walk it out. You know what I'm saying? Like why are we still
Yeah,
doing this? And so that's like pastors usually have are they really really long suffering in these particular ways, and they want to walk with you through. I'm like I don't know. I'm not sure. Transition, yes. Once you have to transition, beloved, you have what you need. Like go find a real pastor. Um,
go find a real bad.
pray for me. Yeah, but I think for me, I think there was this hope that we would share ministry in a particular way at one point, and we tried that with C3, right? And a lot of things just didn't work out the way that I think either one of us imagined. But it was also a reminder that the gifts that God has given the church can operate outside of particular structures. And I think when I think about our relationship, I'm like, yeah, these gifts are still present in so many different ways, whether we're supporting each other's ministries or just life or these ideas that we have. Um, these gifts still show up in these really, really practical ways.
For sure, for sure. And they get strengthened.
Yeah.
I think the time that we spent working on C3 was beneficial for us in ways that have yet to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything is ever wasted, and all things are done with a purpose, even if we don't understand it in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
And coming into a better understanding of how to live out our cause, I think C3 provided us with an amazing platform and foundation to figure it out. And
Hmm.
even the classes we took leading up to that, who was our boy Hyatt guy? Was his
Mm,
name Hyatt? Michael?
mm-mm.
Oh, I done lied. Okay, so you can
Well,
edit this part
there
out.
is a Michael Hyatt, but I don't know.
We
Okay.
did some of that. Okay, we'll talk about that. That's another story. And then, what? Ask your question.
No, because I'm like, is it Michael Hyatt is more organizing than like, or like productivity than the spiritual stuff. So I'm just trying to figure out which one you're talking about because we did both.
Yes. No, no, no,
Okay.
no. I'm talking
Yeah. Okay.
because it helped us to organize
Fair.
our ministerial roles in the work that we were
Yeah.
doing. It was a transferable skill
Hmm.
that helped
Come on,
us
transferable skill.
because we
So
were laying the foundation.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and then laying that foundation, even going through those different kind of classes and the spiritual entrepreneurship, all of that, you know, help to even help us figure out even more who we were and how to really kind of define it or how we wanted to shape it with room for growth. You know, sometimes when we say define, then it leaves you to this one little shape, but to provide a structure for us to grow and develop. Yeah, I think it all works together. Even though he was
Yeah.
organizational, we were starting an organization, and I think it
Yeah.
helped us to use our gifts in a structured way.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think what I was also thinking about is like those countless hours we did of like prophetic work, prophetic training, right?
Oh yeah,
Activations, right? And so I think that's where my mind was. So when you said Michael Hyatt, I was like, okay, all right. But
I
yeah,
was
and
getting
again, I
there.
think
Yeah.
using like all of these different resources and tools and frameworks in ways that was like authentic to where we were at that time or where we wanted to be, like what we were going
Hmm.
into. And I even think about that time, like to your point, like nothing being wasted. I see fruits of that sometimes in both of our ministries. And I'm like, yeah, like we probably who knows, we probably still could be where we were without those things. I'm like, yeah, that like this knowledge and awareness and confidence and skill of even operating prophetically. I was
Hmm.
like, yeah, I think that's fruits of the time that we spent laying those foundations and
Yeah.
the countless hours of stuff like the hard work, the work that people don't see, right? Like the
Yeah.
prayers, the prophetic, the um, like being rooted in community, the trainings, the all of that in the reflection, which anyway, I'm not gonna go on a tangent. A part of me wishes like more of this stuff happened in churches.
Yeah.
I think the way in
Yeah.
which we were laying that foundation, because I do think that it's helpful, and it's a reminder that the fruit doesn't always bear in the institution. Rather, like God is not limited to any
Yes.
institution. That the gifts work also outside of things that may be familiar. Because there's some stuff that institution just cannot contain. But I'm not about to do that today.
Oh, okay. I
Um,
was like, oh,
I'm not going to do
I'm
that today.
listening. I feel like
All
there's some
right.
stuff you want to say.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Oh,
mm-mm.
okay. Okay, that's another time. Okay.
Yeah, another conversation. So, how have we helped each other stay faithful without becoming each other's source?
I think when we get to the point that it might feel like we're each other's source, there's a break. Not a stop, not a pause, not a I'm not talking to you anymore, but there's a something that shifts and shifts our thinking, and we will say, but I ain't the one, or have you prayed about it? You
Hmm.
know, or do you need to go talk to the lady?
Please, please, please. Yes.
Or do you need to, like, well, what's going on? Is this something you need to talk to a spiritual director about?
Hmm.
I think we have gotten to the place now where we're more aware, and so we can catch it sooner. Um, I think even in I'm not even gonna talk about numbers because it makes me sad. But like even in, I think in our early 20s, we didn't know how to not be the source. So that's when
Mm,
we got frustrated and just quit talking. But I think now we are more aware and we're able to say, "It ain't me, boo. I can't do nothing
yeah,
with that. I can't fix it. How can I pray for you?" Like when we start
yeah,
talking about stuff and it start, I,
yeah,
what other gifts, what other resources do you need? I think
mhm,
you do a great job of asking that question, like, how can I pray for you? How can I walk alongside you? What resources do you need? Have you talked to, your spiritual director lately? And I think being able to see that and ask those questions helps us to reshift, like, okay, this is
mhm,
not the source. This is my
yeah,
BFF, who is a wonderful resource, but not the source.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think you touched on like a really, I think, good and important point where even though we companion with someone through time, right, through seasons, BFFs, it doesn't mean that we have everything that someone needs, right? And I think
Yeah.
that that's helpful to remember because you can be so close to somebody, right? Um, that it's like, okay, they don't have everything that I need. They can still walk alongside me in this process, on this place, but they don't have to be the resource that I use or the particular support that I use. And I do think that
Mhm.
we have learned this really weird rhythm now that you're talking about it of like of a pause, of like a natural just break. You know what I'm saying? Like a yeah,
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it. When you said I was like, I think that is true. It's
Yeah.
like it's not like okay, well, it's not always well. I can't do this. I don't have that. It's just like this awareness, a knowing that it's like okay, I reached a boundary or a limit of what this other person can do and there's other resources and really even asking each other like what do you need from me in this moment? This is my capacity. This is what I have. Whether it's just
Hmm.
listening or providing feedback or helping to think about like what other resources are available, who else can I talk to who can help me with that. Instead of feeling also I think this pressure of being like, okay, I love Anita. I have to make sure that I have like the answer. It's like no, no, no.
Right.
Being seeing each other and being like companions does not mean that we always have the resource. It means that we are witnessing the journey. And so I
Yeah.
do think
For sure.
there has come like this pause, this natural kind of pause. Or sometimes we be like, I just ain't got it. That's
And
also in there too. It's like I ain't got
we
it.
yes. Yeah.
Mm-mm. So we're both hanging on by a thread right now. We both need to go see somebody. So what you asking me for? You know what's going on. I ain't dead. What?
You ain't new here. You are not
Yes.
new here. Please
Did you
act
you
like you
remember
don't
the
know
last
me.
conversation we just had? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
how you asking me and I'm telling you to be in the same situation in two different states.
You're not wrong. You're
Now,
not
be
wrong.
for real.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh, I like this question too.
I know where
All
you're
right.
going.
So, our relationship has been misunderstood from the outside. What have you learned about protecting a relationship from other people's projections? Take a deep breath. Yes, this is a good time to take a deep breath, child. I'm gonna sip my
um,
tea.
Listen, because so many people have opinions. That makes me think of Anita. Right? I'm not gonna go
We
there with
both
that
went there.
song, but you know, and so I've learned that I don't have to say anything. Period. For a long time, I used to try to defend it. I used to try to
Mhm.
make it make sense to other people. And then I had the realization this will never make sense to somebody who's not in it. And the world has such a limited viewpoint when it comes to a man woman relationship. And we just gonna be us. We are who we are, and I can't let other people define what this is. I can't let other people tell me what this is, what this should be, and I don't have the energy to keep telling people why they need to be out my business.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so and so that's really one of the ways that I've protected it because For the longest time, I mean, we was married with 3 kids, like,
Hmm.
and we
Yes.
may have even had a dog and a white picket fence. I don't know. It was all
Hmm.
sorts of stuff that was out there, and so
Yeah.
um, I've learned to accept other people's thoughts and opinions, and just let it roll off my back like water because I don't have to explain this to anybody. Period.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
do feel like you got the you got more of the questions than I did. I'm friendly. I maybe people don't think I'm friendly. They can talk to me, but I feel like I don't know if I'm friendly. Anyway, that's I feel like you got more of the conversation than I did.
Definitely.
But I think to your point, like you can't explain something to somebody who's not in it, and like I got chills when you said it because I was like, hey, that's true, right? Um, people think what they want to think.
They do. And that's just like with anything. At some point, you have to say, the world is going to think what the world is going to think, and I have to live
Hmm.
in my truth, regardless
Yeah.
of what that is. So for some people, their dreams about whatever we supposed to be have died. Some people
Hmm.
still holding on. I'm like, I need y'all to all let that go. Just let
Yes.
it go.
Yeah.
But what I know is that I will stand 10 toes down and go to war about you. Like
I
it's
got
just what
you.
it is. And
Yeah.
the people can say and think what they want to think, and I'm gonna let them unless they get too far out of pocket, and then I'm gonna have to put them
Listen.
back in their pocket
Listen. Same. Hello. Let
disrespectfully.
just be clear, right?
Just to be clear, like,
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
do it. Don't
Yeah.
you don't want to touch that. And I think I've
Yeah.
made enough facial expressions and I made enough comments that people um have stopped making comments, thoughts, and suggestions.
Yes. This is about to be really petty, but remember the time we posted that picture with that baby? I think it was. Well, I won't say whose
Yes,
baby it was, but yes, and that
that baby's birthday
Facebook
is
went to the
today.
frenzy. Oh, how old is that
That
baby
baby's
now?
14 today.
Lord have mercy. Okay, moving right
Yes.
along. That is
Yeah.
wild.
Oh yeah, but social media, Facebook
That
didn't
was
handle it.
fun though. I really
It was
enjoyed
such
that
a good
time.
time. But it was
Yes,
so
yeah.
wild because people, y'all seen me in the last 9 months. Where y'all think I bought this baby from?
They said you been hiding. You was wearing baggy clothes.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay.
Yes,
We ain't
yes.
have no baby shower or nothing.
Nothing. Cause listen, if we gonna have a baby, we about to get them presents and them gifts. They
Absolutely.
expensive.
Yes.
Like,
Babies ain't
it makes you
cheap.
think of right. It makes you think of this broader question, like what happens when we let others define intimacy for us. I think what people see is like they see we share an intimacy, like a really close friendship, a really
Yeah.
close love and companionship for each other. And I think that that is what people see and notice.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, like what happens when we let other people define that or name that?
It messes stuff up. I think some of the early inconsistent times and the early walkaways were because of that. Were because of, oh well, y'all look at this and this and y'all this and that and y'all do da 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 da
I
da.
mean, we do take really good pictures, but anyway,
I mean,
I'm gonna let you finish your thought. Let you finish
we
your
absolutely
point.
do.
Uh
Okay,
huh.
put
Do
us in a magazine. But I think it like messes with your head. It's like, well, should this be going this direction? Should this be explored
it.
this way? So you start thinking from other people's perspective instead of what
Mm-hmm.
reality is. And so I think it can
Yeah.
get you, all discombobulated when you start letting other people define intimacy or any relationships at any level.
Yeah.
It messes you up. It's not a healthy thing.
Yeah. I agree. It takes it. I don't know the word I'm looking for. It does like color the relationship in a way that doesn't need to be colored, right? It's like
Yeah.
trying to fit into these particular like boxes, or particularly with church folks. I think it's like these really binary ways of thinking about relationships and a lot of other stuff. It's like, okay, this is the only way that folks can share intimacy, and it's like that's not true. That's not true. There's
True
other
it ain't.
ways, even revealed in scripture. But again, this is not that conversation.
You know,
Now,
and
is there anything?
everybody think they know what is right for other people, and it's like,
Yes,
you know, but amen. I'm gonna just say a prayer for you and pray you
yes,
find
and
your
I think
healing
it.
and peace.
Yes, and it's like you interrogate your own relationships the way you're trying to interrogate ours.
Please, please.
Yeah. So before, I mean, we're coming to a close. Is there anything else that you just want to name about being in a relationship with someone over a long time, right?
I think it's really been said, but to drive home the point, open, honest communication is so key. And not being afraid of what the other person might say or how they might respond to what you are saying. You know, I think about um when our I'm gonna share this story. You can decide to do what you want to do with it, but I feel like we made a real shift when we argued about sangria.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I was like, well, what is it? Right? Because I had gotten to a place, and I think that was the beginning of a shift in us being able to speak honestly with one another. So if anybody if you've been friends with somebody forever, y'all really super tight and close, don't be afraid to be open and honest and have that communication, because if the love is true, if the love is real, then the love will withstand. And that is what we have witnessed over the last years.
Hmm. Hmm.
So.
Yes, yeah, and we can talk about sangria. So I don't like this word. We won't say sangria's real name. We're gonna say
Not at
sangria,
all.
right? Because we ain't giving that no air time. No, but we can talk about the point. I don't like the word coming out. I don't like that language, and I talk about that in other spaces. But um, yeah, I was dating this guy, and we had. I think we already had code names for the people that we were dating. Like I don't think we always use like
We did not use
their real names, right?
they
There was
was
Mojito for
alcoholic
you.
beverages.
They were, yes. Come on, Mojito.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Right, and it was I was in this space of like telling people that I was dating a guy like for the first time. And well, it wouldn't I wouldn't say for the first time. I told other friends before, and it shifted our relationship. It changed our relationship because they could not reconcile um, like spirituality, particularly Christianity, particularly in that space that we were, and the ways that I was involved in ministry with an open sexuality that wasn't just heterosexuality. Um, and I mean, I guess I would be curious about your experience of that because I was holding it close, right, to the chest. We
Yeah.
would talk about it, and I think, so when I go back to like intuition, or like even the prophetic, there was something that you just would not let go of. Like I think you could tell that I was holding something close to my chest. It was like, why are you holding this? What is going
Yeah.
on? This is crazy, right? And I think we had two different experiences of that moment. So a part of me was like, of having expressed this to other people that I was really, really close to as well, and then that really shifting and changing the relationship, right? And then I also think I was moving from like just holding a lot of things like really close to me as a way to protect it to being open with it and see what's going to happen. And I think the other layer to that is like it was a mess. Sangria was a mess,
Sangria was a
right?
mess.
And so in my
And
mind, it was like if I was in this healthier relationship, right, then I wouldn't really care.
hmm
Well, I would say I wouldn't care. I think it would have felt safer, right?
yeah.
Because I'm like it's healthy, it's good. This is a mess. And so to be like, okay, this part of me, I haven't told you that I was queer. I think I was using bi at the time. I haven't expressly used that language, right? And then on top of like being in this messy relationship, it was a relationship. It was messy, right? It just felt like a lot to unpack at one time. And so I have my own reasons for doing that. And what I remember is you was like, well, you can tell me anything, blah, 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 blah. And it almost felt like, and I think this is where the tension was for me, is like, you have the right to know, right? And so I interpret that moment as like, I have the right to know what is going on. And I was like, I think as close as we are, I think that people share what they want to share with someone, and like
Hmm.
nobody in this has the right to know things,
Yeah.
right? It's nuanced, like if as long as that person is not being like harmed or involved or can be harmed, right? And so I was think in that time like wrestling with all of that. Um, and you were mad at me. You were frustrated and mad at me. And I was like, how you gonna be mad at me? Because I'm trying to be safe. Like, why you mad at me? Because I'm trying to figure out my life and be safe. And I was like, this is crazy.
I was
And I
so
don't know.
mad.
I think that's the Apple. I think that's when we went to Applebee's.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
maybe one of the times we went to Applebee's when it was open in Broad Ripple. But
Yeah.
I'm curious about your experience. Yeah.
It's so wild because I'm like, okay, you talking a whole lot about sangria. It was time to meet sangria. And I was like, listen, because we're not gonna keep because I'm about ready to fight and I don't even understand. And so for me, it was like we went to the art center or something in Broad Ripple. We had hung out earlier that day. And that's when I was like, this is so cool. We can tell each other everything. And you was like, well, we don't tell each other everything. And I was like, oh,
Most
okay.
things.
I said, noted, noted. Okay. And I kind of let it go. But then later on that day, Sangria did something. And so now me and you are talking. And so again, my overprotective was like, who is Sangria? Like, when am I gonna meet Sangria? And so for me, it wasn't about like, why are you hiding this? But like, why don't you trust me? Like
Mhm.
we've been friends long enough for you to trust me with this. And I feel like you're not trusting me, and that's why. And so then when you told me, and I was like, okay, that's when I was like, well, now we need a face to face. That this cannot. I know I just saw you, and I know I'm downtown, but this got to be a face to face conversation. And I think when we were able to have that conversation, I kind of like breathed a sigh of relief because it was like, oh, okay, it's not about you not trusting me. It's about you protecting yourself. And
Mhm.
and so for me, things shifted and I was like, all right, cool, but know that, you know me. You can trust me. Like, and
Yes. Yeah.
that really was it for me. Was like, how you my friend and you don't trust me? Like, we talk about all the things and you don't trust me with this with sangria because I was really ready to go fight. I
I
mean,
mean, I don't think that ever changed, but yes.
I was gonna say honestly, if I were to see sangria today, I wouldn't not trip them. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
If
Yeah, and I think that is the point of like when I was talking about, well, I'm coming back to vulnerability earlier today too,
mm-hmm.
and I don't think it's just around sexuality
No.
in relationships. I think that's included, and so I think one of the lessons for me was like there are people who I've been in relationship with in these particularly like Christian environments that can also hold other parts of me, right? Um, and so I think that I think I mentioned like our relationship over time being healing. I think that is one example of that because having experiences with people that I was close to, because for a while you left too. You want to talk about you leaving and going to school. We didn't ever talk about that. We talked about our friendship, and maybe because it was early on in the friendship, I literally just had this revelation in this moment. We always talk
Okay.
about when I lived, but like when you were gone, leaving, there was other
Yeah.
folks I hung out with regularly, and we had these conversations, and it just broke. Like they could not reconcile that. And I think at that point, for me, I think I was still living, like figuring out what parts of me people could hold, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, as a Black queer person, I think there are still very few places where people can hold all of me or like all of what someone is. Um, and I don't think people are being inauthentic or like I think you can separate yourself sometimes, but I think you also just learn places that can hold you, right, and that are safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that was I think that was like another maybe defining moment in our relationship too. I think for both of us. But I was like, you know, my own protection of myself was like, hey, nobody, listen, if it's not impacting you, you don't have to know.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's also me pushing back real quick around like this, even now that people feel like they have, I think they judge people who are, I don't know, I don't want to say in the closet or DL, but people who hold their relationships close. or their sexuality closed for safety reasons, right? And I'm always going to push back against that. Of this idea that you have to know anything about a particular person if it does not cause you any harm, right?
Right.
And I think in that time I was really just pushing back against that in my experience of like telling someone who I thought loved me who was closed and being rejected in that way. And then I feel like this may be a whole different conversation. Then I went on this coming out tour, which I don't like that language, but like really just maybe just inviting into it. And it was like, yes, like this is a person that is. It was really unhealthy in retrospect. Like this is the person that is all of this stuff is going on with. But yeah, anything else that you either want to respond to that or you feel like is helpful to mention in our conversation before I have our final question?
Yeah. You say things and I hold on to them. Um, and so one thing that I say all the time is how you start a relationship, it's how you keep a relationship. You told me that years ago. And I've held on to that. But you also said one person doesn't need to know everything about you, but someone should know. How did you say it? How do you say that? But when you're basically what you
Yes.
said was every one person doesn't have to know everything, but there should be somebody that knows something about you. Basically, like you might get this part, and you might get this part, and you might get this part, and together y'all can figure it out. And I appreciated that because it was like you don't have to give your whole self just to one person. Nobody is entitled to know your every beginning and ending. And if somebody knows this about you and somebody else knows that about you, then that's fine, because if something happens, then one of these two people will be able to know how to deal with whatever's
Yeah.
going on. And I just appreciated that, and I keep that in my little pocket.
Yeah, and I think the point is, I don't know where I heard that from, but it was like I think it helps guard against secrecy, right?
Yeah.
Um, because like, and I think this is the issue or the challenge with people who are like hide their sexuality as a secret. That doesn't, um, it does. You're not free. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're
Yeah.
always having to hide, and so this idea of like not one person has to know everything, but there shouldn't be anything in your life that somebody doesn't know about, right?
That's
That
that's
you,
how you
yeah,
say
that
it.
you,
Yeah.
yeah. You spread it out a little bit. Um, I don't know. It's been helpful for me. So this final question, or maybe two. Um, if someone is listening and they're thinking about a long-term relationship in their life, what question would you invite them to sit with this week?
Is this worth the effort?
Mm, mm,
Is this worth the effort? you know Longevity doesn't always mean it's healthy.
mhm,
So is it worth the effort?
mm, mm. I asked the question and I'm trying to think of my own answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I would invite them to ask, do I feel free?
Oh, that's good.
Uh,
That's real good.
And I think something we talked about earlier was like, if I don't feel free, right, in this relationship, can I talk to this person honestly about, what's going on? And it's not placing blame. I think,
Hmm.
maybe there's some things that both people can do and
Yeah.
then to go from there. But I think that I think it's important to ask those questions and then let other people be a part of the other person be a part of the conversation. Like don't answer it alone because
Right.
sometimes, right, we can like I don't
Yeah.
feel free and it's over. But it's like I don't feel free and this is why. And being in conversation with the other person for this mutual sense of discernment on is this relationship, this friendship, has it run its course or pausing
Mhm.
now? Or can we shift? Because we're growing, hopefully, and changing, and to continue into continue with the relationship. So,
For sure.
well, I am so grateful for your time here on this podcast and for, your presence in my life. I appreciate you. I love you. I'm so proud of you and all of the things that you continue to do and the ways in which you continue to grow and shift and change. And I'm just excited about not only the things that you do in the earth, right? Not only the ministry, but like for the person that you are. I'm so grateful that we get to do life together. So thank you for being my friend and being a companion on this long, long, long journey.
Yes. I got the snacks. We gonna make it. We
We're
gonna
gonna
make
make
it.
it. And
Yes.
I'll bring the water.
Okay. See, there we go. Thank you for having me. This is so rich. I mean, I don't think we need to get on a podcast to tell all our business, but I think, we should have some more conversations because there's so many things we didn't get to and so many different elements that we didn't talk about, like all the dual relationships and talk
Hmm.
more about C3, talk about the podcast,
Yeah.
and I'm just grateful though for your friendship, for the ways in which you push me and pull me when I be resisting the go, but I need to go. And just all the ways you believe in me. It just warms my little heart. And I can't
Aw.
talk much because I'll start crying. So thank you for having me here.
Yes, I love you very much. And
Yes, I
yeah, we
love
should do
you
this
very
again.
much.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Let me know. I've got time.
All right. Take a breath. Staying counts. You are invited to stay connected at sacredresonance.co. Until next time.